There we go. We have the brand new setup in here. We got the 3 screens running. And I just got back from filming another episode of Chip with Chats, which is coming out on Friday, by the way, so make sure you check that out. So I get down here, fire everything up, ready to go, and all my cameras went blank. I'm like, that's not good. That's not bueno. But we are here. We have a very big show planned for you today. Dr. J is going to be on in just moments. I see him hanging out in the green room, so we'll bring him on. We have Joe DeGuano. I guess he's not a Packer insider. Perhaps we'll call him a Packer outsider. But we're going to talk NFL draft. We're going to talk the whole Aaron Rodgers thing. And we're going to talk about plaid shorts, which will be super exciting. And Texas country singer, songwriter, and hugely talented artist. Her name is Megan Ashley. She will be on the show today. So we're packing them in, stacking them, packing them, and racking them here on a thank you, Tim Abraham, for liking the stream. I appreciate it, man. Pops up on my thing now. So I know if somebody likes the show. We're going to move that since we're here. Just like that. Keeping things rolling. Wherever you're watching, thank you. Whether it's on Facebook Live, whether it's on YouTube, or whether it's on Twitch. We appreciate all of the love, all of the follows, and hopefully all of this goes off without a hitch today. So we'll see. We'll see. I saw Dr. J was in the green room, but he left. So he'll be back though, I'm sure. So while he's returning, I just want to go through and make sure and see if any of my other cameras are working. So we're going to go over to camera. Nope, we have no camera 2. Okay, noted on that. Camera 3. We got a camera 3. Oh, we got camera 3. Where are you? Over there. Okay. So no camera 2, camera 1, and then we have this. Okay. I was just checking to see what was working and what was not. Seeing what buttons were working and which weren't. We did have a chance to, I'm not sure how loud these are, but we had a chance to add some music beds in. We got jams and stuff now. It's awesome. We also threw in some sound effects and stuff like that. So we're again, it's a growing sitch. But I see Dr. J is in the house. We bring him into the show. Dr. J, how you doing, my friend?
Wonderful. How you doing, Coop?
Doing well. It's one of those things where you're running all day, and then you're like, all right, it's time to do this one particular thing, and you hit the fired up button, and nothing works, and you're like, oh, well, we need to fix that. So apologize for the delay on getting you on here, but I was like, none of my cameras are working, which makes a live stream really just a radio show, a podcast.
Well, that was funny because when I first came into the green room, there was no audio or so I couldn't hear myself, so I had to come in and out. So whatever it did, it worked.
It's something with the stars aligning. The moons are in Mercury retrograde. Something, I'm not sure. Something's happening, but good to have you back. How was your weekend, sir?
It's great, absolutely. Enjoyed the nice warm weather. So yeah, absolutely, all good. How about you?
It was good. It was another project-filled weekend, which are always fun. We're redoing the wall back here. We're doing a panel wall or a pallet wall. So we're taking the pallets apart, and then we're going to sand them and stain them and do the whole back wall with pallets. So we did that. Took them all apart this weekend, and then we decided to put up a privacy fence, which
Yeah, what else you got to do?
It was like, it was Sunday. Like, what should we do today? Well, let's put up a privacy. Okay. So, but productive weekend and beautiful too. I mean, Saturday you couldn't ask for much better considering it was the first day of May in Wisconsin and it was 88 degrees and sunny. It's a little strange.
Yeah, it's all right. Hey, I'm not arguing. I'll take it.
No, absolutely. This was good preparation because we're going down to Naples. We're taking the first vacation I think I've taken in probably 8 years.
My.
I know. Like that's not like hey, we're going to go to the cities for the weekend or we're going to go and do camping stuff. This first time like getting out since I was in Mexico like 8 years ago. So going to Naples for 5 days. Really excited about that. So it was a good warm up to what Naples is going to be like.
It's a good topic to discuss at some point. Why vacations are so important.
I think that we're going to add that to the list because
I'm a big fan.
I know, and I thought I see you going all these things. I'm like, he looks like super happy about life. Maybe I should take that into consideration.
Yeah, man, it's essential for happiness. There's no question about it.
Well, we're definitely looking forward to our trip here in a couple of weeks. But wanted to get you on today and talk about starting a business. I've been, I just recently launched what I believe, if I count, is my third business adventure, which is Cooperville Clothing, which launched last week, which we're super excited about. So I got that, and I got the beard company, C4 Productions, and all these things. And I was, again, this isn't like completely self-gratifying. Like, it's not because I'm going to be here taking copious notes on stuff, but it's like one of those things where all of the fears that go into starting a business when you're first getting started, the denial that I think you tell yourself, like, I really like doing this, and I'm pretty good at doing this, but you don't take that step because there's fear of the unknown. So I want to talk to you about, starting a business, being an entrepreneur, and just get your take on getting over that first hurdle, which is the fear factor of stepping, not right away, maybe away from the business world or from your current employment and jumping right into it, but getting into a place where you're like, I'm doing something I'm super passionate about and making money from it.
Well, if you're going to start a business, my suggestion and recommendation would be you do it because you love to do it, not just because you want to make money.
Right.
The money is the byproduct of the value that you create. If you do it simply because you want to make a bunch of money, my experience is those businesses tend to struggle because the motivating factor is greenbacks and not about value creation.
Right.
And look, we all want to be compensated well. We all want to prove our lot in life. It's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is the most successful entrepreneurs I ever met have a concept for a vision of a product or service that they have that they're so passionate about that other people get excited about it, and they do really well and they make really good money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if you're simply out there and you look at people as dollar signs, that's not value creation, and you're going to struggle. So getting to your point as far as overcoming the basic fear of becoming a business owner or an entrepreneur, first of all, let me say this. Not everyone's cut out to be it. I know it's kind of this hip, cool thing now. It seems like everybody's starting their own business, and maybe that's the case. But the reality is not everyone's cut out for it. So if you don't have the stones for it, and you aren't willing to grind your tail off and risk, if those three things make you really uncomfortable or nauseous, my suggestion is to don't dive in.
Right.
Okay. Now, with that said, my experience is when people start their business, it's not unusual to have doubt and uncertainty. To have these limiting beliefs that come up in your mindset is normal. What's not normal is allowing those limiting beliefs become your defining moment. In other words, is they stop you from taking the necessary steps to achieve the success that you can deserve or should deserve if you do the right things. I work with a lot of entrepreneurs, and I use this tool called busting your rocks. And those rocks are the dominant 9 limiting beliefs that we have, and we all have them to a certain level of extent. And identifying first which are those for you, so we can understand where they came from, how do we overcome them, and how do we shift our belief system. And so now most entrepreneurs don't have that opportunity when they first start. So then it becomes trial and error. Okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to try this, see how this works, that kind of thing. I will say this. If you're going to start out in business, there's 3 things that I see that will result in a business really struggling and potentially dooming the business in a short period of time. Number 1 is it's undercapitalized. Like, we have this concept and idea for a business, but we don't have enough capital either to market or promote the business, which is actually number 2. Is you got to have enough capital in your initial investment to be able to market and promote your business when you launch. You may have money to get it started, but if no one knows about it, what difference does it make?
Right.
You know what I mean? Because you're not going to sell your product or service. And then number 3 is being flexible in yourself. When we first start, and even now, I've been an entrepreneur all my life and I still don't know everything. But the point is that we know even less when we first start. And being amenable to the resources and people out there who maybe have gone the path already and been successful, reach out to those people. My experience is that those people are more than willing to help and mentor, because mentorship is really important. I wish I would have learned, when I first started, what I learned later on could have saved me a crap ton of money and time and anxiety and stress if I would have known it early on. So being open to new ideas and concepts, find people who can mentor you. And then, like I said, those three things: you want to grind, you want to make sure that you're willing to challenge yourself and take risk, because that's what entrepreneurship is. It should be entrepreneurial, risk taker.
We're gonna get that put on the nameplate on the desk here, because that's a huge part of it too. And I think there's people always, when you see somebody who's been successful with their own business, you have a visualization of it. Well, that's what it's like. Like you have this freedom to set your own hours. You're your own boss. I don't want to work for anybody else. All my bosses are assholes, and I want to be able to. Obviously I know what I'm doing, so I'm gonna be in charge of myself. But there is this misnomer that that's what you get out of the gate. Like, I started my own business, and now we're living the high life. We're living the dream now. We're taking vacations every 8 years or something ridiculous like that. We're not working on weekends. 5 o'clock we shut everything down, and that was, I think, one of the big eye openers for me, and being open to all of it. But it was like, no, if there's something that needs my attention, there's nobody else. There's not. In the beginning, there's not like this team of people who is like, okay, I got this issue with an order, or I have this refund, or I have this insurance paperwork has to be done. Like, you're in charge of all of it, and that can happen at 6 o'clock in the morning. It can happen at 8 o'clock at night. On a Saturday, you could get a customer complaint, something you have to deal with, or a bad review. Like, all of these things you have to be aware of it before you open the doors to owning your own businesses, because in the beginning, you're the shot caller, and with that comes all of the responsibility of all the bosses you worked for that were assholes. you have to wear all of those hats without all of the employees working for you right away. That was a big realization for me. And I think reading a lot of books and researching a lot online. I mean, Google has all the answers, or DuckDuckGo if you're not into the Google thing. There's a lot to learn about how much you need to dedicate yourself if you want long-term success. And that's a whole nother page, is how are you playing your role as a business owner? Are you playing it because you want to get rich quick and maybe, build something up and then sell it? Or are you playing the long game where you want to be, okay, here's where we are in phase 2 of this, and here's where we want to be in phase 3. And here's really the end game. You have to be in it for the long game if you want to achieve long-term success.
Most small businesses don't turn a profit until year 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's what I was talking about, the capitalization. And you are absolutely right, is that one of the biggest struggles that small business people deal with is they wear all the hats.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? They're their accounts receivable, their accounts payable. They sell the product, they make the product, they handle the marketing, they handle the sales and the close. I mean, they wear all the hats. And at first, it sounds like, it sounds really cool. Until you, as you so rightly had mentioned, is that at some point your head's just spinning because you don't know what hat I should be wearing right now.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so that's what quickly leads to burnout and disillusionment about being a small business entrepreneur. From a time standpoint, you're going to work way more hours when you launch a business than you ever worked for the man.
Yeah.
Way more hours. And your brain never shuts off either, because you're always thinking about, whether I got to iterate here, or, do I need to change my sales process? What about this? I maybe need to tweak this marketing program right here because it's, it's not converting very well, whatever it might be.
Right.
Your brain never shuts off. So the energy level, right, goes, you just get zapped. And this is why it's so important for small business entrepreneurs to have some balance in their lives, to make sure they're taking care of them emotionally and physically, and taking care of their nutrition and things like that, because you need even more energy to be able to deal with wearing all the hats. Now, most small business entrepreneurs really just buy themselves a job. I mean, seriously, one of the best books I ever read, in fact, a good friend of mine was the top independent coach for Michael Gerber, who wrote the book E-Myth. And if you're a small business entrepreneur, every small business entrepreneur, whether you're intending to or you are right now, need to read the E-Myth, because the E-Myth talks about the 3 roles that an entrepreneur plays. They play the technician, they take the manager, and they're also the visionary. And as you mentioned, we talked about most of the time you're wearing all three hats,
Yeah.
right? So as a technician, you deliver the service or sell the product. As a manager, right, you're running the business. Sometimes that's including employees as you start to expand. And then the visionary, who's setting out the focus and goals and vision for the future and growth and expansion, blah, 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 blah. And being all that is just overwhelming.
Yeah.
And at some point, when you leave the job and be an entrepreneur is when you solely are in the entrepreneur visionary role and you have a team, manager, and you have people who are executing and selling and delivering the service. And that's truly when you become an entrepreneur, because that's when you have the time, the freedom, the flexibility, and the resources to do what you want when you want. And for most, that takes quite a bit of time, many, many years. Some get it really early, not most. And those who think they're going to get it right off the bat are mostly delusional.
Yeah. Yeah. I
just saying, man.
Yeah, I feel you. No, I think there is, the grandiose illusion of when you see that small percentage of business owners, small entrepreneurs that do have success in a very relatively short period of time, which can be 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years. You get that, well, it can be done, and you could be doing something completely different. You know, I sell beard stuff and T-shirts, and I do videos for for people. I host this show. All of the things, though, I love doing. Like, I legitimately love being able to have you on every week and have all my guests on and talk to them. The idea of this apparel company is something I've had for years, and finally, opportunity presented itself to open that up. The beard company, I just stopped shaving, and I'm like, well, this makes sense. It makes sense I should do this. But there is this idea that, well, yeah, you got to be doing great. Like, things have to be like just rolling in. I'm like, the investment that you have to continually make, whether that's in marketing or all the things that currently hold place where a human being will be eventually. Eventually we'll have somebody in charge of, the sales department. Right now we pay X amount of dollars for an application that can do that as well as we can do. So you have all of these expenses that you have to keep track of. And now you're an accountant. Like, wait, I didn't start a small business to become an accountant. Like, where's the accounting department? Don't we have somebody in charge of these things? So I think there's a lot of disillusion when it comes to all the things that go into small business, as you mentioned. As a coach, I know you coach, like you said, a lot of entrepreneurs of all ages, at all levels and stuff. How important is it to have somebody like you that is a mentor, that is a coach, that can keep people on track in order to achieve that kind of success, whether it's short-term, long-term, or whenever it comes your way, I guess?
The obvious answer sounds very self-serving, and but I'm going to share with you my experience. I'm going to share with your audience my experiences. I mean, as I mentioned, my first 5-6 years in business, I struggled horribly. I mean, to the point where it nearly cost my marriage, my relationship with my kids, my health, and my business, because I just didn't know what I didn't know, but I was too arrogant and too ignorant to ask for help. Right? I'm going to do it on my own. I'll figure it out. Right? Even though the business was doing okay, everything about it I hated. I hated going there. I hate the experience. I hated dealing with the customer. Everything. But it wasn't them. It was me. Until one day, and I wrote about this in my first book. A friend of mine had suggested that he was working with a business coach, and he said, "Hey, why don't you just give him a call and talk to him?" And so I did. I set up a time, and we got on the line. And he says, "Hey, man, tell me what's going on." And I explained, like I told him everything that was going on, but it was everything outside myself. It wasn't about me. It was everyone else, right? And when I got done, it was a very cathartic experience, because it was like, it's kind of like, when you have a good cry, you let it all out, you just feel much better. You know what I mean?
Been there.
Yeah. So I thought he hung up, and I was like, "Hello, you still there?" And he goes, "Yeah." He goes, "I know exactly what's wrong." I'm like, "Wow, great. Finally, someone's going to give me this magic potion, magic solution here. It's going to save and cure all my ills." And he goes, "Jay, man, your business and your life is waiting for a leader to show up, and it's not you." And that was like a 2x4 to the head, because it was the first time I had to take responsibility for everything I had in my life. It was my responsibility. And he called me out on it. And humbly, I accepted it. And I realized, okay, if these are truly the things I want in the life I want to create, I got to change my ways. I got to learn. I got to grow. I got to immerse myself. I got to invest in myself. And that's what coaching is, man. It's about investing in you. And there's no better investment you can make. Why? Because the ROI is nearly limitless.
Right.
Every time you learn something, every time you expand your thought, your mind, your consciousness, your ROI expands exponentially. Way better return than any stock market. Why? Because it pays itself every single day. Every single day. So consulting, coaching, can be incredibly transforming in so many different ways to help you get where you want to go much faster. And people think of it as a cost. It's not. It's an investment, because the money that you invest in it, I tell my clients the minimum ROI on the work you do with me is at least 10 to 1. But if I do my job really well, it's closer to 100 to 1.
Wow.
So, and so it really comes down to, are you coachable? Are you willing to do the work? And do you have an open heart and open mind? Because if you're closed-minded, coming, I have all the answers, well, I can't help you. You know what I mean? And if people are willing to do the work and put the time in, they can have incredible results.
I think that's probably one of the more challenging things, and I'm sure you've just talked about dealing with, from a personal standpoint, but with others too, is that putting down of the ego, of the somebody knows more than I do, but this is my business. How does this guy think that he knows my business? And you wonder why you're looking at whether it's sales numbers or the fact that you're stressed out or you're losing your hair or you haven't been on vacation in 8 years. It keeps on coming up, Jay. Thanks for.
There's this theme here.
There's a theme. It's a reoccurring theme here. But we're going to check that off the list, which is going to be great. But I think that's such a huge thing, especially if you're in it and you're doing all the things that we talked about. You're wearing all the hats and your brain is, I want to say fried completely, but you know how it is when you're, okay, I'm going to shut down for the day. And then an hour later, you're like, oh, wait. Oh, or an idea or something pops into your head and you're back into that grind and your mind never really gets a good chance to take a break from it. But to be able to put that ego down and say, okay, I'm willing to take advice from somebody who has more experience than I do, probably has been through these exact same situations, and probably in a roundabout way knows more about my business than I do myself. That, I imagine, that's when I think the sponge, when you squeeze a sponge and it opens up and it absorbs all this. I think that's that moment, because you go, okay, now I put that guard down. I'm ready to learn, and in turn that ROI you talked about exceeds all expectations.
Yeah, for sure. And, oftentimes when I work with entrepreneurs in a variety of different fields, that question comes up. Well, how do you know this particular, this field? And I say, business is business. It's numbers.
Yeah.
Right. So you look at your balance sheet, you're either ahead or you're behind. And if you're just breaking even, to me, you're behind. Right. And the question is, how far ahead do you want to be? And are you where you want to be? And then everything else is work backwards, right? Why are we at the point we're at? Well, typically it always starts with the leader. A business can never outgrow its leader. The business is where it is based on the current level in which the leader is thinking. And so if we want something different, we need to think differently and then take different actions. And that could be in marketing. That could be in how we work with our team. It could be that we're not clear on our true value proposition, whatever it might be, right? It could endless. Yeah. And so, so that ability to look within or look in the mirror and say, hey, it's me, and I gotta change my ways is the first step. It's almost like, the first step in a 12-step process, what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, okay, all right, game on. Now we know where the, I want to say issue, but we know what we need to do to get started. And to me, that's the fun part, because now we can go in the lab and start making something really cool.
Right. How important is keeping on a calendar, keeping on a schedule, especially when you're juggling multiple things and you want to, schedule those times where you are completely removed from your business? How important is it to have like a good calendar that has like, I know right now I need to be dedicating my time to X, Y, Z, and then this time is for, ABC. How important is it to have that kind of constant reminder that, okay, I need to be focused on this at this point. Here is my time to, whether it's relax or date night or the important things that you have to, I think, keep a part of your, your external relationships. Otherwise, they tend to go to hell too. If you're always, on your phone doing business or you're on the computer doing things, I think you have to set time aside for obviously the important things in your life. But as far as keeping a calendar goes, where did you rate that on a level of importance for a business owner?
No, it's huge. In life, there are reasons and seasons. When you're starting a business, man, it is all in, right? And so that means maybe I'm not spending as much time taking care of my physical health or exercising, or maybe, I'm cutting corners at home or whatever the case might be. And you can do that for a season, a month, 2 months, 3 months. But the longer out in which you do that, there is a price to pay. So I developed this awesome business. Now I'm getting divorced and my kids hate me.
Right.
I don't think that's the reason why we decided to go into business, or you know what, I'm making an incredible amount of profits. I'm doing really well financially, but my doctor says if I don't change my ways, I'm going to be around to enjoy it.
Right.
So and this is one of the things that's so important to me. And one of the things that I teach so often is I don't like the word balance, because it creates this illusion that, hey, I spend 6 hours on myself and I spend 6 hours here and 6 hours. It doesn't work like that. Right? You look at your core values as it relates to what's important in your life. So if family is right there, your health is right there, maybe it's, travel, or if it's your faith, you need to schedule time each week in those key areas for personal fulfillment, and to make sure that those in those areas are having their needs met. And so I had my calendar each week on Sunday mornings. I would do 20 minutes and I'd lay my calendar out, and it was old school. I did it on paper, but it was easy for me because I color coded it, and I had my 3 most important tasks, what I call my MITs, that I needed to get done professionally, and 3 personally. And those 3 MITs each week, as accomplished, moved me closer to my goal for that month and the quarter. And then I have my to-do list. And this is more like, I need to get to, but if I don't, the world's not going to change.
Right.
But I would then color coordinate my calendar based on dollar productive behavior. So my dollar productive behavior is when I was working in my business and on my business. But then every day I would schedule time for me and for family, for me and family. So when the me part is just, taking time working on my mindset, exercising a little bit, and some downtime, literally scheduling downtime. I used to schedule 15 minutes downtime in the middle of my day, go outside, take a walk, I don't know, close my eyes, whatever it might be, meditate for 15 minutes. And so when I got a control of my schedule, and a lot of people who like to live life vicariously, this feels very uncomfortable, but they need it even more so. They need structure. Because they live so vicariously, they're super unproductive and very scattered, and therefore so are the results.
Yeah.
So I would schedule that out to this. So the long part to your answer is, really important based on core values, the things that are most important to you. What we don't confront, we validate. So the longer we don't engage in our relationships, we validate they're not important to us.
Right.
And that's how, we talk about a triple P life, right? It's about empowering dreams, igniting passion, accelerating prosperity. And so we got to make sure we're touching each part of these key areas of our life as often as possible.
And I think that's super important, not only for somebody who's been in the game for a while, but especially when you're first getting started. Because especially if you're leaving a position where you had that structure of a job place to go to, and you knew that it took you 18 minutes to get there. You knew you needed an hour in the morning to get ready, do the 3 S's, and make your lunch for the day. That structure was almost automatically a part of your day, because you knew I have to be to work by 8. I have to leave by 7:40, and then I get my lunch here, and then I'm done here, and then at the end of the day, most typically, then you're just done. Like, you're done for the day. Depending on your industry that you're in or the business that you're in, after 5 o'clock or whatever time you're done, that's kind of like, okay, now I have time to do the things, do the family. If I have a personal hobby I like to do. But when you get out of that, when that structure is taken away and you're like, well, I'm setting my own schedule now, you end up not setting a schedule at all because you're like, oh yeah, today I'm gonna post something about my product, and you get that done. You're like, well, I have 23 hours and 15 minutes left to just do what I want to do. But when you are held accountable to that calendar, and okay, from especially scheduling and personal time, I think that's hugely important. In my morning, I get up at this time and I do this and I get these things knocked out right away. And then I'm going to spend 15 minutes enjoying breakfast or 20 minutes enjoying breakfast. And then I'm going to have an hour where I'm just making whether it's cold calls, whether it's, setting up a marketing plan or an email campaign, all the things. That's what this hour is for. And then you can move on to the next thing. And I think there's so much importance in having that before you take the step out of whatever business you're working for. That's, paying you, and, you just have to go in and do your thing. When you get into it yourself, like having that calendar is the most important thing. And I've really gotten more into, like really jumped into really looking at my calendar strategically. Like, and I think you mentioned, like, what in this hour, 45 minutes, hour and a half is going to be maximize my productivity for this particular task at hand. If I'm doing marketing, if I'm doing, product development or something like that, or getting on a call with, my chemist for beard stuff, like what is going to make this time period the most effective? Obviously that meaning it's going to generate more revenue, more sales, and more things down the road. So I think having a calendar it's on that list pretty high.
Yeah. The other thing too, which, I mean, we can spend multiple shows on this, but one in specific is how to avoid distractions that sap away from your productivity. Real key for most people, very, very difficult to do because we're constantly inundated with, external messages. So can you be disciplined enough to insulate your environment to make sure you're 100% present in what you're doing? And then shifting from, let's say you're shifting from writing sales copy to sales calls, right? Two different things. How do you shift the mindset to leave one behavior or activity to another to make sure that the next one is just as productive as the one previous? And that's how I developed the 1 minute mindset shift, right? Is how to put yourself in the right headspace at that time to maximize your production. I mean, all these things that over time I learned, I developed, I implemented, I've taught, because you and I both know there's 24 hours a day, 1,441 minutes in a day. How do some people run 12 businesses, right? Have a family, exercise, whatever. They get all this stuff done in a day, and someone else can barely, manage, a Facebook page, a business Facebook page.
Right.
So how is that? Right? It's focus, it's discipline, it's eliminating distractions, it's making you sure you know what your most important tasks are. I mean, these aspects of high performance results from an individual for individuals is critical to scale. And so, as I mentioned to you, when I started coaching and I started to learn and implement, and my business started to grow and grow rapidly, then I hired a personal assistant, and we scaled way faster, even as a result, because all of a sudden, as when you're in that role as an entrepreneur, at some point you got to delegate, regulate, you've got to outsource or just not do.
Yeah.
And that's a whole nother level of conversation, but the quicker you can scale, the quicker you can get into that entrepreneurial role and really focus on the stuff that you're good at. Because I don't want to do bookkeeping like you've talked about before.
Yeah.
Right? Send me the numbers. Oh, I'll run through those numbers and make sure that we're hitting our targets. But I don't want a data entry. I don't want to do that stuff.
Right.
I'll pay someone else to do it. So, again, dollar productive behavior. The things you're working on, what is your value per hour? How much can you generate either in sales or production per hour, as opposed to, let's say, if you're doing bookkeeping and you can pay somebody $30 per hour and you're generating $500 per hour. Why would you ever spend that time doing bookkeeping?
Right, exactly. No, super important stuff, Dr. J. And I think one of the main things that I did, and I think I read this in a book somewhere, it was go through all your notifications on your phone. You were talking about trying to find that time to be completely undistracted. And first off, be amazed at how much shit you sign yourself up for. You're like,
Yeah.
why do I, like, if you like go and you get like a 20% discount on a t-shirt that you buy, and you're like, oh yeah, I'll get 20% off by entering my phone number. And then they text you like 4 times a day. And then you're signed up for, sports alerts. So you get, every time there's somebody scores a run, you're like, oh, and the consistency of you just looking down at your phone for really no value. Like, are you gonna go buy another t-shirt because they just sent you another text? No, like go through and find all the things that you've signed up for, all the notifications you have set on your phone, all the emails that you have subscribed to something. There's a great feature that was invented on Gmail or mail services a couple of years ago called the unsubscribe button, where you just go through and you click on it and it just unsubscribes to everything. Do those things because you'd be amazed how less you look at your phone when it's not constantly going ding. Oh, what? Ding. Oh, sorry. You can find those moments of focus and help improve your business and the rest of your life. But Dr. J, always good stuff, man. Always appreciate your insight. And if anybody needs to get a good coach in their life, this guy right here.
I appreciate that, man. I just want to leave this with you. 92. You know what that is?
I do not.
It's the average number of times an adult looks at their phone per day. 92.
Yeah, and probably 3 of those have somewhat importance to them.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe it's more like 1. Awesome. Dr. J, thank you so much, man. Appreciate it. Have a great week, and we'll chat next week, man.
Sounds good. Be well.
Dr. J LaGuardia right there on the show, talking about all things business because he knows what he's talking about. The man's got the knowledge and does the research. The Power, Passion, Prosperity podcast, you can find that everywhere podcasts are sold. And, of course, we have a link to Dr. J's social medias if you follow us on social media as well. So you can go and lock and load with Dr. J and improve all aspects of your life, which is why we're here. We are a life-improving mechanism, people. True stuff. Thank you to everybody who's jumping in the comments. Tim, how you doing? My mom's in the house. Mom from California. Always loves when Dr. J is on. Matt Brown, what's up? Joe, always a pleasure, my friend. Good to see you hanging out in the comments. Speaking of people hanging out, it has been a hot minute since me and this fellow are hanging out. We got along because of our appreciation for the platted short, and we bring in Joe DeGuano is in the house rocking the skull cap like a bad mofo.
You know what, though? It's the Packers skull cap.
Oh, I like that.
All right. So, yeah, we got to talk back. By the way, my cat will make an appearance. My cat has been sleeping all day, and every time the camera goes on,
I saw an ear.
Bucky decides, oh, there's a tail. So, yeah. So, sorry, dude.
No, it's okay. I feel like, do we have to pay like an appearance fee for that?
Purina. He's sponsored by Purina,
Gotcha.
So every time he walks through, I mean, I'm not kidding you. I haven't seen him all day, and now camera goes on, and he's like walking around.
He knows he's a showman. He knows.
Well, and listen, the plaid. I miss you, brother, and thank you for having me on.
Oh, thank you for being on, man. I appreciate it. There's a tail. I love this. This just adds a certain level of je ne sais quoi to the whole program, and I like that about it. Love it. How you been, my friend? It's been a while.
You know what, Coop? It has been a while, and I will tell you, I saw you and Bill Michaels on, I think, about a week ago or so, and I meant what I said. 2 of my favorite broadcasters and people. I mean, seriously, because so it was 8 years ago, and we just celebrated this, and I don't know if you remember this, but it was 8 years ago that my broadcast company bought yours, and that's when you and I met. And we connected, and we did a lot with promotions, and we talked sports, we talked radio, and, we kicked it old school. So just recently, Bill and I started, I told Bill that I said, dude, it's the Tommy Boy Tour with Bill Michaels and myself. And I said, just because of size requirements, I said, you, my friend, are Chris Farley, and I'm David Spade. And So I'm working with Bill and getting his statewide network out there, and just having a blast. And and by the way, there you go.
There it is, full on showing right there.
There you go, dude.
We almost had to change the rating on the program there. It almost went PG-13.
Totally, but Bill is one of my favorite people. You're one of my favorite people, and yes, you and I would wear plaid shorts all year round.
It's true,
and people gave us crap for it.
But unwarranted.
Well, but it's good though. It's good. But life is good. 8 years since you and I met. It seems like life is good for you, brother. Like, I mean, so this is, oh my God, sorry, dude.
He's a star. The Bucky's the star of the show. I love it.
He's totally the star. and again, if I can get a Purina or somebody to sponsor him, he'd be good. But life is good for you, my friend.
Things are good. Tim Abraham is in the comments here, and he says, "Hey, Joe, Timmy A, in the house. Things are good. Timmy A? Things are good, man. You know, we kind of went. This started off as a concept after leaving radio, and it went from I want to do a podcast because I have to talk for a living, or just talk for the sake of talking, and we just kind of we grew it into this everyday thing. Every single day we're on here. We're talking to people from all walks of life, musicians, obviously, and having Bill on has been great. He's always got great insight on things, and Dr. J is on every week.
Yeah, I just saw him, and he was really good. And by the way, I will tell you, the one thing that I respect you in a lot of different directions, but you are a great dad, my friend. And if anybody follows you on social media, the kind of dad you are, and it's good stuff. Seriously.
Yeah, I mean that's the pride and joy right there. I mean, I want to say that's why I do what I do, but it's definitely a blessing to be able to show him a bunch of different avenues of life, and even when life doesn't hand you the exact outcome that you're hoping for, you can go, all right, well, what do we do now? Let's figure it out, and you figure it out, and that's hopefully a good quality for him as he grows up. We'll see.
Well, you're a good dad, my friend, and it's good seeing you. I will promise you this: we got to drink in person soon.
Let me check with my schedule. I'll schedule it in. That's part of the thing I was just talking about with Dr. J. I said you gotta schedule the fun stuff in too as part of life. But yeah, definitely when you're up in the area, or if I make an adventure down to wherever you are, you and I and Bill will meet in the middle somewhere, and all sorts of havoc will be caused.
Sounds good, man.
Awesome.
Sounds good. So hey, there's nothing going on in Packer football right now.
That's
it's
good.
Dead.
Oof,
there's really nothing at all to talk about right now.
It's so strange because it feels like not long ago, the biggest gripe was, man, there's just nothing coming out of Green Bay. They're not doing anything. We're not hearing anything. There's not enough coverage. Everybody's talking about other stuff, and we want some attention. And then we got it, and perhaps filled with piles of maybe we didn't quite want this type of regret.
Careful what you wish for, man.
Yeah,
Careful
exactly.
What you wish for.
But yeah, we'll talk about the glaringly obvious thing because it happened right before the draft, and we can comment on timing of the whole thing, and it's weird how it all works out. But the rumors come out, and it was one of those things that I saw posted one time, and then all of a sudden it was the only thing that was on social media. I mean, it's draft day, that buzz is in the air about who's the next big thing going to be. As a Packer fan, you're like, please don't select another quarterback. We're good. And all of a sudden, the entire draft day countdown shows and social media is all blowing up with Aaron Rodgers hates Green Bay. He wants out. He's going to retire. He wants a trade. The 49ers are throwing these options at him. And you're going, wait, what? Like, where's the Aaron Rodgers that was on the Pat McAfee show saying, I want to be a Packer for life. I love it here. Things are good. What happened, Joe?
Well, I'll walk you through what I know. And, obviously last year, and it's funny, Coop, it's one of those things. So I still do sports talk in La Crosse and Eau Claire. Mm-hmm. And obviously I'm with Captain Dan here in the Eau Claire market. I'm with Dave Carney in the La Crosse market. And Dave asked me before last year, he goes, what's the one thing that would piss you off before the draft last year? Mm. And I said, drafting Jordan Love. I didn't say drafting a quarterback. And look, I get all the physical stuff. I get, and he's probably a nice kid. So I don't want to, put him in a box of not being a good kid or whatever. And I get the physical stuff. You look at the 2 years of tape of him as a starter, and he didn't show me improvement. I don't want to see regression
Right.
From 2018 tape to 2019 tape. All right, I just don't. I don't. If you're a college quarterback, you should be getting better.
Right.
And he regressed, and so everything started. And what I've been able to piece together, and the people I know up in Green Bay have told me that the bottom line is this: Aaron would have liked to heads up. Now again, fine line, because Gutekunst does not owe Aaron Rodgers any kind of general managerial capabilities. All right. So he would have liked to heads up, and Rodgers goes through it and does his thing. And then, right around the NFC Championship game, the Rodgers camp approaches Gutekunst and says, "Hey, how about an extension?" And at that point, Gutekunst turns him down and says, "Well, no, maybe a restructure, but not an extension." Now, again, Gutekunst has every right to do this. Now, regardless of how I feel about Jordan Love, does Gutekunst owe the organization an opportunity to draft the next guy? Absolutely. That's it. That's in his power. Does he owe Aaron Rodgers anything? No. He doesn't have approval, but could he have said, "Hey, dude, heads up"? And so put that on Gutekunst, and then Rodgers balls out last year, and I don't think Goody sees that coming. Yeah. And I think he was talking about a quarterback that, and I know that Rodgers has talked about off years for Rodgers being career years for other quarterbacks. We get all this. So he's come off 2 off seasons or 2 off years, 2 collarbones broken. Concussion. So I don't blame Goody for drafting a quarterback. I don't.
Right.
Now, again, I'm not a Jordan Love fan, and I would have loved Jalen Hurts in the second round rather than Jordan Love in the first round. But, I'm not getting paid, Brian Gutekunst's money right now. So the bottom line is this: this has gotten personal, and someone, an adult, needs to step in and say, guys, hold up here. And I loved AJ Hawk today on the Pat McAfee show, because AJ Hawk today said he's not retiring and he's not demanding for Goody to get fired. So let's just put that on the table. Now the Jeopardy thing, that's another thing. I think that's a legit desire and love and everything else from Rodgers. But Coop, you and I have lived this before with Rodgers and with Rodgers and Favre, and so. The bottom line is, I don't think he retires, and Goody won't get fired. Goody's a lacrosse kid, and he's a Wisconsin boy. So, cooler heads need to prevail right now. And the bottom line is, I give it about a 20% chance that Rodgers is not on the football team this fall, on the Packers. Because I will tell you, John Elway right now in Denver, all he's doing is saying this: look what I did for Peyton Manning.
Right.
Okay. Look what we were able to do for Peyton Manning and get him that second ring. And so I do think that crazy offers are going to come to Green Bay. But I also think now again, this is what I'm hearing. Green Bay, Jordan Love is not ready. He's not ready. So the bottom line is, someone needs to, put on their big girl panties right now, and be the adult in this situation. And say, guys, do you want Favre all over again? Aaron, do you want to be Brett Favre all over again to the Green Bay faithful? So it's a messed up situation. By the way, how much swearing can I do on your show?
As much as you fucking want, dude.
All right, so it's a fucked up situation right
totally.
now. You've got Goody who fucked up, and Rodgers who's basically saying, dude, I'm the man, and you didn't treat me like the man. And now I'm hearing today that Jake Kummerow, Whitewater Jesus, is at the crux and core of Rodgers' angst. And I'm just like, really? Favre throws a hissy fit for not getting Randy Moss. You're throwing a hissy fit for not keeping Jake Kummerow. I don't really see that.
I mean, okay, let me preface it. I don't get it, but like Kummerow was one of those guys, like I think the Wisconsin thing, and everybody was like, yeah. And, he had a couple of great grabs, and everybody's like, yeah. But, when you're talking about the whole pissing and moaning thing over the last how many years about Rodgers not having weapons. He doesn't have. Okay, first off, he had the number 1 ranked offense in the NFL this past year. I know he balled out, but you have arguably the best wide receiver in all of football. And maybe you
and the best offensive line.
And the best offensive line, by bar none. A really top 5 running back who took less money to come back to Green Bay, and whether it's because his girlfriend or wife said, "I love it here," which, really, do you? Such a nice town, 8 months out of the year, but and not
maybe
just
6 months out of the
maybe
year.
6, give or take. But it's just the Cooperville thing, like him, like that's the guy, like. I don't quite understand that. The AJ Hawk thing, I heard about that today as well. That's right. I love AJ and Pat McAfee. I think they do a fantastic job on the Pat McAfee show. But it really does seem like there does have to be the adult in the room, the mediator. But who is that person? It's not Aaron. It's not Goody. No. It can't be Mark Murphy, because he just feels like he's like, I don't know. Like, do we look like idiots? Yeah, you look like idiots.
Mark Murphy's just pointing to the sledding hill on a regular basis. And
Remember
he's
that?
Saying, look what we built.
Remember this? See this? Isn't this pretty over here? Nothing to see here. Don't pay attention to that man behind the curtain who's calling all the shots. But it's just and it was, again, the oddly quietness that we had for how many months out of Green Bay after the NFC Championship game. Obviously, a lot of disappointment. It wasn't the greatest game. Everybody was pointing fingers at Kevin King, and they re-signed Kevin King. But I went out and got a cornerback in the draft who is possibly his replacement. Or maybe he does the same thing that Jordan Love did to Aaron Rodgers. All of a sudden, Kevin King's becomes Jair Alexander 2. You don't know.
Well, or, and I'm questioning, and I'm completely fucking around, but I'm questioning, did anyone ask Jair about drafting a cornerback? I mean, if you're going to play this out, did anyone ask David Bakhtiari or, about, hey, we drafted an offensive line? So look, the bottom line, if Rodgers cares about his legacy, and I've always been told he wants to be known as the greatest quarterback ever to play for Green Bay. All right. And that's Bart Starr, and that's obviously Favre. And Coop, I'm going to bring up a story, and you know this. Aaron Rodgers, early on in his career with Green Bay, when he came to Eau Claire, liked a certain bar called the Pickle.
I think I saw a picture of that circulating recently.
And Aaron Rodgers, there was a drink there or a shot there that was called the Favre, and he was all about, you know what, this is going to be called the Rodgers when it's all said and done. And he wants that second Super Bowl. And I love that out of him. All right. So, because I think the second Super Bowl, you're not going to win as many NFL championships as Starr. And I think Starr was just the epitome of class for this organization.
Right.
And I don't think Favre ever could get there. I think Rodgers could, but if Rodgers wants to fuck with that now, and look, let's. I mean, power rankings came out. Green Bay slipped from 3 to 4 after the draft. So where is he going to go to get that Super Bowl ring now? Okay, you go to Denver, and Elway decides to, do whatever and bow to him. And again, I love Aaron Rodgers, so I'm not making this sound like, the guys that I know in the game feel, and I agree with them, Aaron Rodgers, the best quarterback. Take the rings out that Brady has.
Right.
Best quarterback to play the game. And I know coaches on that staff with the whole Rodgers and Favre thing that just said, in practice, Rodgers was the better quarterback than Favre. So it was a very easy transition. But if you care a goddamn thing about your legacy, and if all of the things you said all these years, the Bart Starr relationship, the everything, if you care, you drop this childish act. You go out, you ball out, and you be the quarterback you can be and the leader you can be. Because right now, and look, Goody fucked up. I'm not going to deny that. I'm not going to he fucked up. You go into Aaron and you say, dude, I'm going to draft a quarterback, FYI. That's all you need to do.
Right.
So he fucked up, but Rodgers right now needs to man up. So in my opinion, you got two ups. You got a fuck up and a man up. And the fuck up goes to Goody and the man up goes to Rodgers. Because if Rodgers truly wants to win a Super Bowl, And if he's going to be a baby and go to Denver, good luck. Because you've got Patrick Mahomes.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a young Charger team that looks good in that division. And you've always got the Raiders. And for him to say the Raiders could be a destination choice, good luck with fucking Chucky, man. I mean, that's just not going to happen. So cooler heads, I think Matt LaFleur is the guy. When you go back, who's that guy that plays all right, let's get together, let's have a beer, and let's talk this out? I think it's Matt LaFleur.
I think he had some great comments that came out today, too, about, Aaron's our guy, and he has that calm demeanor about him. He doesn't sound, not that Goody sounds, well, he kind of sounds a little stuffy about things. So it's a little robotic. And Aaron's always got that waft of arrogancy about him, but he's had that since he was drafted. So that's not right. But I think LaFleur, just the way that he speaks, and he's just very like, Aaron's our guy, and I want to see him back in a green and gold uniform, and we're doing all the things. He's got that very calming thing. So maybe you're right. Maybe he is the guy that says, you sit here and you sit here. We need a round of beers or victory scotch, what the fuck ever we need. Not a guy. This guy right here, getting it done on a Monday. And to have that conversation, because when you look, and I think this draft class I really liked where they went with it. I think they did things that I was like, wow, they really kind of drafted not only best available, but they also drafted for positions they needed help in. I think that Rodgers trade in the third round.
Yep. Amari Rodgers from Clemson.
That was genius. I'm like, there's your Randall Cobb part 2, and probably a little bit better, a little faster, but the third fastest guy in the draft.
Well, and Amari Rodgers, he played, his dad is T. Martin.
Mm-hmm.
All right, quarterback from Tennessee.
Yep.
T. Martin coached Randall Cobb at Kentucky.
Yep.
Yeah. So you Amari Rodgers said they interviewed him and said your dream scenario, and it's being drafted in the second round by the Green Bay Packers. And look, this goes back to the whole thing about Rodgers. What have they done for me lately? And by the way, that first round receiver shit, when you can draft Jordy Nelson, Greg Jennings, Randall Cobb, James Jones, when you can draft those guys in the second and third round, shut up about the first round draft choice.
Right.
So when NFL spouts that they've never drafted a receiver in the first round, fuck that. It doesn't matter what round you're drafted in. It matters what you produce on the field. So you draft the cornerback with the first pick. You draft your basically your Ohio State center with your second round pick. You draft your gadget guy, your Randall Cobb, who they've missed and I would argue, Coop, that they missed Cobb more than they missed Jordy Nelson. So I would argue that. And so you got that guy. You can't tell me that they're not making these picks with not saying with a blind eye to Aaron Rodgers. They're making this picks for the team, and they're making the best picks for the team. So again, I love Rodgers, but at some point you got to move on. I thought the draft was great. I want to ask you a question though. With a young son. Now, how old is your son?
Just turned 11 week and a half ago.
So is he a Packer fan?
If you were to ask him what his favorite team was, he would say yes, it is the Green Bay Packers.
Okay. Does he like Rodgers?
He does.
Okay. So, and I'm with you. I've got two boys who know, they're 19 and 16, and they don't know the 70s and 80s like you and I do of Green Bay football.
Right, give me that Randy Wright jersey. Where's that Randy Wright jersey?
Right. Where's Anthony Dilwig,
Dilwig.
Scott Hunter. I mean, all those guys. So if Rodgers leaves, does your son stay a Packer fan in your eyes, or is he a Rodgers fan? Because this is the thing I've been thinking about is with my boys now. It's like Rodgers leaves. Are you a fan of the player, or are you a fan of the team? And so I want to ask you. Where do you take your son in this?
I think because he is probably a step back from like where I am, like the super fandom thing. I think he would be like, well, yeah. I mean, there's still still the Packers, right, Dad? Like they're still, the team from our home state that, you rooted for as a kid and, went through the highs and lows and have been and really on this incredible high since Favre. Minus the 8-8 season and a couple other miscues that happened within there. But overall, I mean, we've had it really well. Everybody in the NFL, I believe, is, besides the amount of championship rings and probably compared to New England, like everybody in the NFC North is going, yeah, things are all right up there. Like we're Chicago's going quarterback. Like now what? Now how many quarterbacks do we like? Who's QB1 now? I don't understand.
Yeah, they are. I think at 23 quarterbacks since we've had 2.
Yeah, but I think there is a certain thing about not having experienced long periods of shitty football, and this expectation that I think you and I both have every Sunday, like we're going to win this one. Like there's even when we're behind. Because we've seen the magic of guys like Favre. We've seen the magic of guys like Aaron Rodgers. We're like, yeah, we're going to win. But that's the team. That's not, I mean, it is Aaron Rodgers has the magic. Favre had the magic. But we're just so accustomed to it. It's like, we're just going to win. And I think he would be more of the perspective of this is the team. Like, oh, the guy's gone? Okay, well, who's the next guy? I'm like, you don't want to know. You don't want to know. We're just going to watch old
and I
tape.
appreciate that. And I want to go back to it because I meant this earlier. Coop, I honestly applaud you for the dad that you are. Because in sports is such, and I'm a coach as well. So I coach both my boys in football. And, my oldest son plays football at the University of Dubuque now. My youngest son is a sophomore here at Oregon High School, just outside of Madison. Both boys, very proud of. But when you go through a transition like this, as a sports fan, because I feel, I've been divorced twice, and I will tell you, I've also been through 2 Packer divorces that have been ugly, and this Packer situation right now is teetering on ugly, and it's really, it becomes a lesson in what do you do with your kids, and how do you shape this? How do you flip the narrative on this? And it really, you look at these kids and they've got the Rodgers jerseys or the Favre jerseys or whatever the case may be, and you say to yourself, how do we make this happen? And LaFleur even said this. How did we get here?
Right.
How did we get this far? And I just think, look, I love coaching. I think sports is a life lesson for all. And I'm sickened by the fact that what's going on in Green Bay. I don't think it's going to end well. I just don't think Aaron's the kind of guy to say, all right, I was wrong. Right. And also, I don't think at this point and somebody said to me today at my last meeting before I jumped on here, well, I think you got to fire Goody. I'm like, oh my gosh, no. You fired Goody and this thing's fucked up. You will never get a GM in that role ever again. Right. That has any respect in the league. And so buckle up, Packer fans. My prediction could be what the same agent who is Aaron Rodgers' agent, and ironically enough, Jordan Love's agent was also Carson Palmer's agent. And in 2011, he had Carson Palmer sit out the first 6 games. Andy Dalton looked okay. So Cincinnati traded him. Don't be surprised if history repeats itself again with a David Dunn client with Rodgers this year.
I was listening to some comparisons to that too, with that reasoning with the same agent in there, and the things were so fucked up in Cincinnati. I mean, It was not a good scenario. They were not a winning football team. There was not a lot of overwhelming success. Not the amount of success that Aaron Rodgers has experienced in the last, say, 2 years of having Matt LaFleur and also having Goody in as the general manager. And I was watching, I don't know who it was speaking on, I think NFL Network. It was a short clip. Gentleman was saying, what exactly do you have to bitch about, Aaron Rodgers? You have the number 1 ranked offense in football, number 1 seed in the NFL, 2 NFC championship games back-to-back. There was several occasions during that Tampa Bay game where it was your fault that we didn't turn turnovers into points. this isn't all on.
Right.
I didn't have.
I mean, if he runs
Megatron.
it in,
Yep.
it's a moot point.
Yeah, it's that simple. It's those kind of decisions that all of a sudden that moment there that got blamed on LaFleur because all of a sudden they're why are we kicking the field goal? It doesn't make any sense. Why are we kicking the field goal? You're like, did you like there was 20 yards and nobody, and he threw it in the dirt, like so there's plenty of blame to be put on Aaron Rodgers for not blame, but there's praise and there's blame. Like you have a team that could compete for a Super Bowl for the next 4 years if you stay healthy and you stay at the helm. They're obviously adding some pieces in. I think the Amari Rodgers pick is a great addition. We don't know what we have in Devin Funchess. Now he could be another guy that you're like, oh, like
agreed.
This could be a fellow that can make a difference. I think Marquez Valdez-Scantling is a fantastic receiver. I think he improves every year. There is always going to be that mental thing that he has with the ball, but when dude could be a baller. He could be a number one on another team. And then you have an Alan Lazard, undrafted free agent. You want to talk about guys getting drafted late in the round, somebody guy that was never drafted. And you also have seen, I think, the moves that the Packers have made that maybe Aaron Rodgers did not like. The Jordy move, the Randall Cobb move.
Mm-hmm.
Without the Jordy move, Devontae Adams is not Devontae Adams. Like he's still a great receiver, but he does not become the best receiver in football without Jordy being gone. So
right.
all of the moves that have been made, and I mean, even as a fan, you're like, God, Jordy, fan favorite. It's the same Jake Kummerow thing. Like, I love that guy. Why did we get rid of him? And then you kind of forget about him, well, unless Aaron Rodgers doesn't forget about him. But all the things that they've made, the moves they've made, have led to a team that is 26-3 or 26-6 in the last two regular seasons, and has been knocking on the door of the Super Bowl with a first-year head coach and then a second-year head coach. Everybody thought they'll probably regress. They'll come back down to earth, and they'll be that 10-6 team, that 12-4 team, and they weren't. Like, what is this guy bitching about? Maybe it's his new fiance.
So here's the thing: Curly Lambeau moved on from the franchise.
True.
Vince Lombardi moved on from the franchise. They fired fucking Bart Starr. Mm-hmm. All right. So you fired what I would consider is the icon of the franchise, in my opinion, Bart Starr. Brett Favre does his thing. Look, guys, and look, I will. Do you see The Last Dance, Coop?
I have the documentary, the Bulls documentary. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know what Michael Jordan said when they drafted Kukoc and Jerry Krause did all this shit. Michael Jordan said, "Fuck you, I'm going to win a championship in spite of you." So guess what, Aaron Rodgers? I'm going to challenge you now. And I know he watches.
Huge fan.
I mean,
huge
religiously.
Fan. Yeah, he's a P1.
So I'm challenging you. You want to be thought of like a Jordan? Tell the franchise to fuck off, but win a championship and then leave next year. All right? And I don't want him to leave. I don't. But if you're going to do it, I know you went out and got the NFL MVP, but you're right about that NFC Championship game. That's a team loss, and that team includes number 12.
Yeah.
So if you want to say fuck you to Goody and Russ Ball and Mark Murphy, go win one more and get it done and put it to bed.
Yeah.
And that's my thing, man. Hey, I get it. You're frustrated. You have reason to be frustrated. Go Jordan-esque on this shit and go win another championship and get it done. And then fucking do Alex Trebek, man. And I will leave you with this, Coop, because I know we're wrapping up here, but I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give you my best Sean Connery with on Jeopardy, and I'm just going to say this. If you want to tell the Packers to fuck off, win a Super Bowl, Aaron, and that will tell the Packers to fuck off.
I love it, Joe DeGuano. I love it. Was it your best? Losers always complain about their best. Winners go home and fuck the prom queen. That's what it is.
You, my friend, who I love this, man. It
Oh.
has been so good. It has been so good reconnecting with you, man. Seriously.
Awesome, Joe. Let's get together over a drink sometime when you're in the area. We'll solve all the world's problems and then not tell anybody.
Deal.
Awesome. Take care of yourself, Joe DeGuano. We'll have you back on sometime soon. I'm sure there's more drama to come out of Green Bay before there's less drama.
Hey, anytime, brother. And seriously, I miss you. And
Miss you as well, man.
I am very, very happy to see you happy, because that is kind of what this shit's all about. So I'm happy for you. And again, keep doing what you're doing with your son, and keep being you, my man.
Awesome, brother. Appreciate it, and we'll chat soon. We'll get Bill Michaels on here. We'll have a 3-way split screen and make all the magic happen.
All right, man.
Awesome. Take care. Joe DeGuano on the program, talking all things Packers. Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron, I know you're watching. Like, you heard what the man said. Win one out of spite. I don't care. I don't care how that trophy gets into the case, man. Get into the case. Love it. Joe DeGuano. Good stuff, man. Go follow Joe on all of his social medias. They're linked up on my social medias. If you follow me, you can follow Joe. What more do you need out of life? Nothing. Great stuff. Still to come in about 10 minutes, we are going to be chatting with Megan Ashley. She is straight out of Texas, the hills of Texas. And she's got a new single that drops tomorrow. We're going to talk to her about new music and shows and live music and all the fun stuff. But we are going to hit our BRB and be right back. So thank you all for hanging out. Appreciate you. Back in a few minutes. Hold up. We back in that saddle again. How we all doing? Thank y'all for hanging out, checking it out. Big thanks out to my first two guests of the day, Mr. Dr. Jay LaGuardia. So it wouldn't be Mr. It would just be Dr. Jay LaGuardia. Power, Passion, Prosperity podcast, author, coach, all the things. Thank him for joining us, talking about business. And also big thanks out to Joe DeGuano, my homeboy, my plaid shirt wearing homeboy, brother from another mother. Thanks to him for being a part of today's show. It was great to catch up with Joe. Haven't seen him in years, man. It's been years. But we got him on. Talked about Packer stuff. He's got inside information that he passed along to you. And thank you to Aaron Rodgers for being a part of the show today as well. I appreciate the watch and the follow. Make sure you hit the subscribe button so you know every time we go live and we're going to talk shit. Just make sure you do that. So we have Megan Ashley coming up here in just a bit. She's got a new song coming out tomorrow called American Summer. We'll talk to her about that. She's going to be down at Key West doing a couple of shows and a whole bunch of other stuff. She is on the way in approximately 5 minutes. So stand by for that. That is coming up. Big weekend. Hope you guys had a great weekend. I know it's Monday. We're just kind of getting to the recap here. We started a little bit late because none of my stuff was working. I'm like, oh, no. Brand new stuff, not working. Weekend was great, though. Worked on the pallet wall, which, as you can see, didn't quite get up just yet. But the pallets have been removed. I did learn something very important, that you can take pallets apart in a much simpler way than doing it with a hammer and just taking them apart piece by piece. Apparently, there's a Sawzall method that works much better. I learned about this method after I had taken them apart all day on Saturday. 88-degree heat, and just like reefing on it. And I was wearing like a cut-off shirt. I was trying to get the arms tan, for Florida. As you can see, it worked out really well. But so I had this like cut-off shirt on outside, and I got sunburnt on my back, and it looks like I was wearing a Razorback tank top, like rocking a chick shirt. So hopefully that will subside before we make our way down to Naples in a couple of weeks, because it's pretty obvious. Like, bro. Then again, it's Florida, so maybe it's okay. I'm sure it'll be totally acceptable. So we got all that stuff done over the weekend. Finally got a chance to dive into a great new book. It is called The 4 Agreements, which is fantastic. I actually have the book, and I was listening to the audio book because I feel like I retain information better when I do both. So I'll listen to the audiobook, and then I'll read it, and then I'll go vice versa. I'll read it and then listen to the audiobook, back and forth. But The 4 Agreements is the book. You should go and read that one. Great stuff for no matter what. If you're in business, if you're just looking to improve your life, good stuff. So read that over the course of the weekend. And yesterday was the 10th anniversary of the passing of my cousin Joe, who took his own life 10 years ago yesterday. So kind of one of those days where, like, just emotionally wasn't in the ball game. But it as you go back, and I was reflecting back on my Facebook memories of this day throughout the course of the last 10 years, starting at the exact same day. And I made a post on the day that I had found out, and it really resonated with me, the importance of telling people how much you care about them. The important people in your life need to know that you love them, that you care about them, and need to reiterate it, even if it seems like you're doing it too much and too often. Really need to get that point home, because this is pretty fragile. It is a short trip that we have. We all think we got all the time in the world, and then you realize that sometimes you don't. So that's my advice to y'all for today is tell people that you love them, and make sure that they know it every single day. There you go. There's my 2 cents of stuff. The thing about this time every year, so I have a group of my cousins all like end up on like a chat or on a group text message, and there's always Jameson involved. I'm not saying that's why I was so emotionally untapped on Sunday, but I'm saying it may have played a small part of it, because this one's for Joey. This one's for sending pictures back and forth, smoking a big Rough Rider cigar. Life was good. But just good stuff. Except for waking up on Sunday morning, I'm like, ooh, that's why we stick to just one shot of Jameson and not more. It was good, though. It was a good weekend. Nice weather, too. 88 and sunny here in Wisconsin on the first day of May. Fishing opener. Was out walking by the river. Saw a bunch of boats out. Great to see people out enjoying the Northwoods, because we know we only have so many days of nice stuff that we can get out and enjoy. But great to see people out doing a bunch of fishing this weekend. I did not partake. I'm not a fisherman. I lack patience when it comes to that. Like, oh, been 5 minutes, haven't caught anything. Let's go. But Joe, did you go out fishing this weekend? I think you were talking about going out for the fishing opener this weekend. So hopefully you got out and got a chance to get some fish, or if not, enjoy some cold beers, because that's my recollection of fishing. That's what it was as a child. It was like, going on a boat, have some beers, and maybe you'll catch a fish. Maybe you won't. But it's good stuff. The other big news today was that Bill and Melania Gates, is it Melania? What is her name? Melinda? The Gateses are getting divorced. I'm mad at myself. I was so thrown off by the fact that my cameras weren't working that I didn't. I'm just going to check camera 3 quick. Maybe it was camera 2 that doesn't work. There we go. Where are we at? Over here? There we go. Over this one. So I was so mad that it wasn't working. I didn't have a chance to. I was like, I had some notes, and they're all upstairs. And I'm like, I got to go on. Dr. J was in. I was going to bring it up. But it's like, oh, the Gates are getting divorced. It's really weird, since this guy's kind of at the center of attention with the whole, COVID vaccine thing. It's just kind of weird. Like, But was it last year or the year before when Bezos and his wife got divorced? I think it was. All these really well-to-do, very prominent individuals, very smart individuals, later in life, going through the big date. It's kind of wild. Kind of wild. You wonder what the reason was, because obviously it's not money. They say money is, one of the major causes of divorce. Clearly, it was not money. They have enough to go around, literally, for everybody. You, me, everybody. The dogs, everybody. They have enough. So what was it? Maybe she refused to get the vaccine. Who knows? I don't know. That'd be cool if that was it, though, right? Like, no, I'm not going to do that. But I'm the voice. I'm the face. No, not going to do it. Now we're getting divorced. That was the big breaking news. It was actually the thing that overran my news feed over Aaron Rodgers stuff today, which was pretty impressive. Like, oh, wait, there's no Aaron Rodgers stuff. It's weird. Oh, that's right, because the Gates are getting divorced. This trumps everything that's going on in football world. But it's just odd. It was weird. All right. Megan Ashley going to join us here in just a bit. She's waiting to get on the. It's weird. I have my other screen is over here, so that's why I keep pointing that way. She'll be joining us just a bit. New song coming out. Joe looks like he checked it out, or checked her tunes out. Great stuff. Great voice. Singer songwriter from Texas. I believe now living in Nashville, living in Tennessee. A lot of those folks on there. I will talk about tomorrow's show, just so we get it out. Nixon from Framing Hanley is going to be on the program tomorrow, so excited about that. If you're a Framing Hanley fan, check that show out. They're going to be up here in Chippewa Falls coming up on May 8th at Joel's Four Corners. That'll be a killer show that you can't miss. If you're in the area, make sure you check that one out. But Nixon is on tomorrow. Shelby Lee Lowe, up-and-coming country artist, is on Wednesday. And then the boys from Big White Light are going to be on Thursday before the release of their new single comes out on Friday. So we'll be chatting it up with them on Thursday. Joey Armina and the crew. I believe he's bringing the crew with him. So we shall see. That's on Thursday. And not sure about Friday yet. I'd bring my calendar up here, but it just may throw everything into a loop. Throw it into a tizzy again, and we don't need any of that business going on, do we? No. Very cool stuff. So thank you all for tuning in, and keep the comments coming. Appreciate it wherever you're watching. Facebook Live, youtube.com/Cooperville Live, as well as the Twitch channel, twitch.tv/No Limit Cooper and Cooperville Live. We have two. Follow on both if you must. Super excited to talk to my next guest on the program today. She's got a new song, and it comes out tomorrow. Then she's going to Florida. I mean, does life get any better than that? I'm not sure, but if you're Megan Ashley, I'm sure it's It's pretty well. Megan Ashley on the show. How you doing?
Hey, how's it going?
It's going great. Are you excited? New song drops tomorrow?
I am. Tonight, actually, in about 4.5 hours.
Oh, it drops at midnight.
Yes, sir.
American Summer. Very cool stuff. From the great state of Texas. Are you now in, but are you in Nashville now? Are you in Tennessee now?
I'm in Tennessee.
Very cool. Tell me about growing up in Texas.
I mean, it couldn't get any better, right?
It's not. That's where freedom rings, is in Texas.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. Yep. In Florida too. Florida's got it good too.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was great. Hot, which I like. So
yeah. Yeah, we're actually we're taking a trip down to Florida in a couple weeks, so we're going to enjoy some of that heat as well. I think everybody needs a little break from everything, and Florida's the place to do it.
Absolutely. What part of Florida are y'all going to?
We're going to go to Naples for 5 days.
Okay.
Yeah,
that'll be fun.
Doing Naples.
What are y'all gonna do down there?
A whole lot of nothing. That seems like the key. Find the beach, find the cute little restaurants, stuff like that. Just detach from the world of craziness for a while and go enjoy Florida.
I love that. It's exciting.
But you're going down there too. You're going to be down at the Key West Songwriters Festival coming up on Thursday.
Yes. I'm super excited for it. It was definitely a bucket list item. So, and something I was really hoping for this year. So I'm excited to be there. It's my first time. So to be down there.
That'd be super fun. So tell me about the festival. Is it like, do you get to perform? Is there like songwriting sessions? Like what is it? What happens down there at Key West?
So a lot of writers rounds, just a lot of shows from songwriters. So I'll be playing Thursday, Friday, Saturday, three days. So with some other Karen Waldrop and some other people. So we're super excited.
That's cool. And the writing sessions, that sounds like right up your wheelhouse too. I know you're a huge, fantastic songwriter. So getting to be amongst other great songwriters has to be a super fun experience you're looking forward to.
Oh, absolutely. Dean Dillon, George Strait's writer is going to be there. Oh. So obviously cross my fingers,
Yeah. He's had some success. Couple of number ones on his list, I'm sure.
Yeah. So hopefully some good networking there and everything like that. So
very cool. I want to take you back to growing up. Like when do you find your way into music? Like was it like from a real young age thing, or did you discover it later on? Like when did you know that music was going to be your thing?
I mean, I've always loved country music. I used to love, like in middle school, I started writing per se, but I would love, just really fascinated with lyrics. I would love to look up, this is when dial-up existed.
I remember.
I would look up lyrics and like, especially George Strait. I just wanted to know what the song was about. I wanted to hear the story. I love just that aspect of it. And I just love just all the different aspects of country music. And so, I played piano and violin growing up. That's something I just played. No one in my family did, but I did. And then my brother had a guitar that he never used. So I picked it up in high school when I quit volleyball and I started to teach myself how to play guitar. And that's kind of how it started. So
yeah, there's something really cool about you mentioned George Strait, and one of the best at doing it is that fact that country music is this journey. There's always a great story. There's always an emotional tie into it. There's a song for every emotion, every feeling, like there's the Friday night let's go have a good time songs, and there's the super sad songs, there's the love songs, and the story writing is so great. So way to gravitate towards that. I mean, that's a testament to your taste in music first and foremost.
Of course.
Yeah.
I also grew up though, like right down the street from where George Strait lives and is from. So back home, he's like king, as he is everywhere else, right. But I feel like more.
That's like growing up in close proximity to greatness. That has to be like the beacon of light is right over there, and it's like a magnet that just draws you. Like, I think I'll go this direction. George Strait's right down the road. That's super cool.
Yes, and all like the Texas country, which I don't know if you're a Texas country fan at all, but that was all right in my backyard. So,
well, I think that it's almost like when you're around all of that, and it kind of surrounds everything. Like there's a natural gravitation towards like that music, that sound, that feel, that community of people that is down there. I mean, did you, and it sounds like you embrace it at a young age, including teaching yourself how to play the guitar. I mean, That's fantastic.
Yes, sir. Yes. So.
And then you made the move to Mecca, to Nashville. Tell me about that transition.
Yeah. So I had put out my first single to Texas radio, and at the time, and it did pretty good. It did really well for my first single out on Texas radio. It reached the top 40s, and so at that time, for females, it's so hard in Texas, let alone Nashville, but even harder in Texas. My radio promoter, was like, look at the females here that are really big. They're struggling. They're not the same level as the male artists in Texas. And so he was like, you should go to Nashville. They love girls there. So not that they don't in Texas, but it's just in regards to music, it's just, I don't know, for some reason, guys get played more. So he encouraged me to do that. So, and I was like, I love Nashville. I think Nashville is such a fun city. So I was like, why not? So I did it.
And there's another place, we talked about being in Texas, around the Texas country scene, and in the shadow of the hill of George Strait. But Nashville, there's so much talent down there, and what a great place to, you talked about networking in Key West. I mean, in Nashville, do you get out a lot and try? I mean, as much as we can. I think things are opening up down there now, but get out and really try to, hone in on your crew, on your group of writers and artists.
I do. I feel like I love people. I love meeting people and networking, and I'm super extroverted. So for me, it's just like second nature. It's super easy just to go out and just meet people, and so it's fun. But I have met a lot of people. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, how have you spent the last year has been kind of an interesting road to travel for everybody, including the music industry, who is obviously hit harder than I think most people actually realize, from the artists to the band members, to the crew, to everybody that puts time and effort into an artist. But what have you spent the last year doing? Obviously, since being super active and being out meeting the people that you love to meet wasn't as much of a possibility as it usually is.
Mm-hmm. So this past year, I have written a lot, a lot of songs, a lot of co-writing. I've been doing a lot of writers' rounds in Nashville, and co-writing. And then lives, a lot of Facebook lives, especially at the beginning of the pandemic. A lot of Facebook lives and stuff like that, Instagram lives, and also I've done quite a few shows in Texas, to be honest. So. And that's pretty much what I've been up to. Well,
that's good. I think some artists can take the time off as kind of not time off, but time that you can't be out, doing shows or doing radio tours or things like that as kind of a negative. But when you really hone in on the things that you can do and the things that you love doing, including songwriting and writers' rounds, all that stuff, I mean, that's kind of adding a layer and more dimensions to you as an artist. So, I mean, that's a way to use the downtime as a way to grow as an artist. I think that's awesome.
Yes, sir. Oh, yeah. I've been keeping busy for sure. It has not slowed down for me.
That's a good thing. That means the trajectory into 2021 is even bigger. And I want to talk about this year. Obviously, you have the new song. American Summer comes out at midnight. People that are watching and commenting in the chat. So go listen on all the streaming platforms. It's going to be available. You have Key West coming up for a couple of days. Like, do you have big plans for the rest of 2021? Is it just time for Megan Ashley to take over the world, or what?
Maybe we'll see. Definitely want my songs to do well, obviously, as every artist should, and so lots of shows. I definitely have not slowed down. I have a flight every weekend almost till in June. So definitely 2 more songs after this is my goal. Cool. They've already been written. So definitely plan on releasing 2 more. One end of July, and then one at the end of September, I believe. And then some music videos, shows, like I said, and that's pretty much just keep chugging along. So
that's good. It's a kind of refreshing to be able to have getting music out. I think is huge, and I think right now you have and over the last year you've had a very captive audience who I'm sure your Facebook Lives did really well, because people, they weren't going to shows. They were like, oh, well, what's going on in Megan Ashley's world? So they got a chance to connect with you there, but then to release music and to be out doing shows and shooting music videos. It sounds like you have a very fun 2021 planned.
So far it's been very, very, very just busy and so many events. So yes.
Very cool. Do you have I know the song comes out at midnight tonight. Do you have any big plans for release day tomorrow as like festivities all day? What's going on for the big release day tomorrow?
Well, I work.
well, that too.
So,
right.
So I'll be working, but I will definitely be waking up early. I'm doing some Instagram lives and some story takeovers, and then I will be playing at this place in Brentwood, Tennessee, which is south of Nashville. It's a suburb called Gigi's Kitchen and Bakery. So I'm just randomly playing there for a little bit. So if you're in the area, come on out. And then just getting ready because I had to like get ready for Key West. So it's kind of like boom, boom, boom. So yes.
Not a bad time to be going to Key West. Well, it sounds like a very busy week and a very busy year. And congratulations on even before the song comes out. But, American Summer is the name of it. Megan Ashley on all the social medias, and meganashleymusic.com is the website to keep up. And hopefully the more shows bring it closer to up north here in Wisconsin, and we'll get a chance to check you out live. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. What part? I was going to ask you, what part of Wisconsin are you in?
So we're in it's West Central Wisconsin. We actually have 3 major music festivals around us. So we're in Chippewa Falls. We're about an hour and a half away from Minneapolis, St. Paul, but kind of Green Bay is that way, and Minneapolis is that way. So we're kind of sort of tucked away in the middle there. But lots of country music fans up here. We have 2 major music festivals. I MC one major music festival that's coming up here in June. So, if you're ever looking for a place to come up and play, we got the space.
Yeah, I love that. I'm actually about to be up in that area not this weekend, but the next weekend.
Well, I'm gonna check the tour schedule at meganashleymusic.com.
I won't be playing there.
Just hanging out. Just coming up.
It'll be. We're flying into Minneapolis, and then we're gonna hit up Wisconsin. It's just like a little road trip kind of thing. But I've never been up there, so I'm excited to check it out for sure.
It's beautiful this time of year. You got spring colors, and the temperatures aren't below 0, so you'll enjoy it. I wouldn't recommend maybe December, January, February, but other than that, it's really pretty up here.
Any tips? Any suggestions? Must-dos in Wisconsin?
See, if you're going up north, if you go to get up to Superior, which is right on the border between it's Minnesota and Wisconsin, but you got Lake Superior is up there, and it's beautiful areas. There's Chequamegon Forest, which is if you want to find the middle of nowhere and just be off the grid, Chequamegon Forest, that's the place. But there's so many cool niche spots and roadside bars and cute restaurants and antique stores. You're going to find stuff if you travel, town to town. There'll be stretches of cornfield and farm, and then you'll be like, oh, there's a cute little town with a cute little B&B, and so a lot of fun stuff to escape from the big cities up here.
It's great.
Awesome. Megan Ashley, thank you so much for taking the time out to chat with us. American Summer, everybody, go and listen at midnight tonight. Stay up late, set an alarm, and listen, and then hopefully a show in this neck of the woods sometime soon. But take care of yourself. Congratulations on the new song. I'm looking forward to hearing it.
Thank you, Cooper. Appreciate you having me.
Anytime. Come on back on anytime. I'll send you some links to the places to go visit while you're up here in Wisconsin in a couple weeks.
That sounds good.
Awesome.
Excited.
Take care of yourself. Megan Ashley, ladies and gentlemen, on the show. meganashleymusic.com, and you can find her on all the social medias as well at Megan Ashley. Good stuff. American Summer drops at midnight tonight, so make sure you go and listen to that on all streaming platforms. And she got some other great songs out there as well. So go and just follow her on Spotify. Follow her on Amazon Music. All of the things, people. Go influence yourself with great music. Discovery. Remember, we're all about discovering new stuff. And another great up-and-coming artist there on the show today. Speaking of artists, tomorrow on the show, as I mentioned, Nixon from Framing Hanley. Hey, he's from Nashville, Tennessee, too. How about that? Well, he lives in Nashville. He's from Jacksonville. So all he wants to talk about is Trevor Lawrence. And now they drafted him at the first pick. But we'll talk about music. Framing Hanley's going to be up doing a show in Chippewa Falls coming up on May 8th. So we'll talk to him about that. Longtime friend of the program, so looking forward to that. Shelby Lee Lowe is coming up on Wednesday, and then we have Big White Light. The boys in Big White Light are going to be on coming up on Thursday. So a full slate of shows and people on the guest list for this week. Thank you for watching wherever you're watching, whether it's on Facebook, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's on Twitch. Make sure you follow. Make sure that you are hitting up that subscribe button that has a little bell on it so you get notified every time that we do another show. Back again tomorrow, better than ever, I promise. Until then, take care of yourselves. Take care of one another. Where's the ending one? First we got to hit this. We got to hit the links. There we go. Hit the links, people. Hit the links.